The views expressed on this program are those of the producers and individuals appearing on this program and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Sun Prairie Media Center staff, its video service providers, or the staff and elected officials of the City of Sun Prairie.
We're all familiar with the three whats: what it is, what it can do for me, and what does it cost. Tyler Rickenaugh, Country Financial, can help you find the answers with insurance coverage to help protect what's most important to you, all at a price you can afford. So while you're juggling work and kids while trying to keep an eye on your financial future, Tyler Rickenaugh, Country Financial, will make sure they are the first ones there when you need them most.
The kids are back to school, and your schedule is busier than ever. From daycare pickup, doctor's appointments, sports, and college tuition, a parent's signature is a powerful thing. Have you ever stopped to think, what would happen if you weren't able to provide one? With thoughtful estate planning, you can make sure that your child's health and education needs are met in the event of your absence due to a temporary incapacity or even death. The estate planning team at Hurley Burrish is here to help.
Fostering deeper relationships, influencing behavior change, developing resilience. You're about to start winning. Here is your host, Christine Bright.
Welcome to Parenting Game. I am so glad you are here. You are joining us while we are in our health and wellness series. Now, we all know that exercise is great for overall mental wellness, helps us burn calories, but did you know that exercise can also be transformative? My guest is Seth with Kicks Unlimited in Sun Prairie, and he's going to share with us the transformative power of the martial arts. Seth, thank you for being my guest today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
Well, I'm excited to learn more about what you guys do at Kicks Unlimited. But before we get into that, share with us a little bit about how you became involved in the martial arts.
I like to tell the story that I got involved in martial arts because of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So I actually started back in, I think it was about 1988. All right, so I've been doing martial arts for 35 years. And I had an interest, maybe with some of the pop culture, definitely Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that type of thing. I was just out of that, outside of like the Karate Kid movie. That didn't really influence me in the beginning. And then I was also having maybe some issues with bullying, things like that. So I wanted to just learn how to defend myself. That was my original thought. And then getting into it, it was like, oh, here's a skill that I actually enjoy doing. And it just went from there. I kept going. I just didn't stop. I showed up to class and I just kept going.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So share with us a little bit what you like most about teaching the martial arts.
Yeah, so teaching the martial arts, I've been teaching since I was, got my black belt 14 years old, and that would have been in 1994. Having the same effect on upcoming kids as the martial arts did for me, having that positive place, having the encouragement, having that coach or that mentor that I looked up to, and then also being able to see them progress. So kids have lots of challenges nowadays. I'm sure there's different, I had challenges when I was a kid, but there's different challenges nowadays. But being able to see them learn that skill and then see it click. Right, like they're struggling, they're learning, they don't quite get it, and then suddenly it just clicks for them, and now they understand, and now they really latch on to it. And that could be as basic as a simple technique, a block or a kick or a strike, or it can be something more complex, a whole form or routine that we do, or maybe it's a self-defense technique, or sometimes it's even the character development parts.
If there's something when you see that in a child's eye, like,
right.
Oh, I got this, I can do that. That is so exciting
right.
when you work with children. I totally get what you mean by that. So we talk about the martial arts. Mm-hmm. There's an S on it. Growing up, when I heard martial arts, I just immediately thought about it was karate.
Right.
That's all I knew. I grew up during that Karate Kid era and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but it's not just karate.
Right.
So explain what the martial arts is.
Right. So a big overview of martial art is any type of activity that has I'll call it a self-defense or a fighting or a militaristic aspect to it, but also has an artistic value to it, that it isn't only about the fighting or only about the self-defense. There are definitely martial arts styles or systems that focus only on those pieces, very realistic, very combative, and that's great. There's definitely needs for that. There's also what you might call traditional arts, old styles that will originate in Japan, Okinawa, China, Korea, and they get passed down over generations. And so there's a lot of traditions and heritages that go along with that. And then martial arts have also progressed. In the last 20 to 30 years, we see different styles. It's not just the kicking and punching, and sometimes you imagine a bunch of people in these white gis and black belts yelling and kicking, and that's still a lot about what it is. But then it progresses into maybe into grappling or ground fighting, or it might focus on a certain aspect of just striking, or it might focus on maybe joint manipulation, things like that. In the modern days, there's even what's called extreme martial arts or tricking, where it's basically blending gymnastics, tumbling, acrobatic type moves with martial arts. So they'll have a certain context of kicking or striking into it, but there's a high degree of gymnastics abilities, being able to do cartwheels and backflips and then multiple spins and be able to throw a karate kick out of that too.
Okay, so we're doing a demo later.
Right.
Did I clarify that I'm not a gymnast?
We won't have you be doing any backflips.
Okay,
That's
good.
That's a small piece of what we do. We tend to focus on more. Our style is more Taekwondo based. We're a freestyle martial arts, so we don't focus on just certain traditions from one style. But we do have a very strong rooting in Taekwondo. My instructors, as I came up, I had several different ones that had influence. Had a big influence in Shotokan karate, Shorin-ryu karate, Taekwondo, and then a little bit of other pieces mixed in here and there. There was a Japanese jiu-jitsu style that had a little bit of influence in there, and then also Kobudo. It's a Okinawan weapon style, an old Okinawan, using different tools and implements.
Okay, so you bring up a couple questions I'm going to ask, because first you brought up like the tools, weapons thing. So when the kids come in, that's what they're going off of what they see on in the movies and stuff. I'm sure they ask, when do I get to the weapons? Is that element something that you teach at Kicks Unlimited?
Yes.
And what does that look like?
Yep. So our bread and butter is I would say the core style of the Taekwondo base. So lots of kicking, blocking, striking, that type of thing. We have a small element of the weapons in there. So at a certain level, at an intermediate level, the kids get to start working with nunchucks. So they get the padded ones though. So they're lightweight, they're padded, and that way when they're learning how to use them, they're not going to hurt themselves with it, and hopefully nothing else. And hopefully not hurting each other or practicing at home and hitting the TV or anything like that. But also what comes with that is a great level of coordination, being able to manipulate an item that isn't just like, okay, it's only useful for this little skill set of doing nunchucks in karate class, being able to use other tools for other sports, whether it's a baseball bat or a tennis racket or croquet, or even using, hand tools, my dad was a carpenter, so I got to use hand tools a lot. And sometimes you equate those things that you're learning. So, and then at higher levels, we also incorporate a bow. It's a staff, so spelled B-O, unlike a bow and arrow.
Okay.
So a bow, a lot of people just call it a bow staff. So the bow is usually about as tall as a student, sometimes taller, about 6 feet is the longest that we go. And we do two different types of it. Some of it we do very flashy, entertaining, so lots of fast, quick strikes, and then even rolling around, spinning around, throwing it in the air. So that's kind of the flashy. That's the art of the martial arts. And then an alternative style called Matayoshi Kobudo. It's the old Okinawan weaponry style. We teach what I'll call the tradition style, or the combative aspect to it, where we really focus on how to strike with a staff, and then also how to block and defend and counter against that too.
Okay, so there's a lot to
There's
teach
a lot.
and go
Right.
into that. So I'm going to throw in another question. Is this also continual learning for you as well as a teacher?
Absolutely.
As things transform, and as you said, the more the grappling is coming in and the gymnastics.
Right.
So you're always having to learn new things as well.
Right. So I go to with our own style of martial arts, I still progress after you get to a certain level, you learn a certain amount of things, and then after that's more about what you put back into the martial arts. So as I'm teaching and I'm leading others and I'm training others to black belt, that's part of what helps me advance as far as like degrees of black belt. But I go to usually anywhere from 2 to 5 different training seminars for the Okinawan weapon style, the Matayoshi Kobudo, and I'll work with my instructor, my sensei there. We bring him to us once a year, and then I also travel to a few different states and out to his dojo to train in that style too. So always continuing, always learning. Same thing with our instructors. We have a lot of teenagers who have earned their black belt, and we invite them to start assisting with classes. They find out they like it, and so I continue to train them to help pass on what I've learned, and then of course I have to keep learning as well too.
That's awesome. So what are the age range of people who participate at Kicks Unlimited?
So we start as young as 4 years old. We have classes, we call them little ninja classes for ages 4, 5, and 6. And the way that we teach and interact and also the things that they learn, it's different than being able to teach, say, a youth or teenager or especially an adult. You know, we're not going to be talking about, hey, here's how you get out of it, a headlock against somebody. We can do that with teens and adults, but not necessarily with those young kids. We're going to focus on the gross physical movement, the big motions with their body, and then start refining the techniques that we do, whether it's the kicks, strikes, blocks, and then also work on their memory with learning short routines. And we also incorporate a lot of character development there. So being able to understand that, hey, having discipline is being able to make yourself do something difficult. Even if you don't feel like it, even if you're tired, even if you don't necessarily like doing it, we're going to make ourselves do the hard things and we can push through it. Or having, say, the coordination, or having the respect, or applying focus in certain areas of our lives, being able to push out those distractions and say, okay, I'm going to focus just on what I'm doing right now. And even if the kid next to me is, making noise or goofing around, I'm able to focus on my areas too. And that way that rolls over into school and home.
Yeah.
So, and then the next age group is usually about age 7 through 12, give or take a little bit. It's those tween age years where we'll start to move them into teen and adult classes. And again, we can work with them a little bit different, but we have our core curriculum. And then we also have separate classes for teenagers and adults. That tends to be, while it's most of the same curriculum, we can go a little bit deeper into the self-defense aspects with them.
Okay.
And then one final thing we do as far as classes is an adult fitness class. It's cardio kickboxing. So we work with hand targets, doing the boxing style punches there. We'll work with freestanding heavy bags, might work with body shields or hand pads like this. And we do it mainly for the workout. It's not going to be about the belts and the uniforms and the bowing and the yesers and things like that. It's really just for the workout, but it still teaches those same core skills of the boxing style punches and the taekwondo style kicks.
Okay. And so what's the oldest participant you have?
Our current oldest participant would be my dad. He turned 77 back in August, and he still comes to the kickboxing class and sparring every single week. And he's been a staple. Now, he started when he was 46 years old.
Okay.
So people usually assume that my dad got into martial arts before I did, but I got into it first. He watched me train for about 4 years, and then it was kind of like, oh, maybe I can do this too. So at one point, my entire family was involved in martial arts. I have an older brother who was a black belt. My sister, a couple years older, got to red belt. My mom started as an adult, and then I think she got to about green or purple belt before, life takes some different directions, and that's okay. My dad and I are the ones that have stuck with it, though.
Okay, that's so great. And I love that piece.
Right.
That, don't let age be an issue.
Right.
Don't let, I haven't grown up in this to be a barrier to, get involved with it.
Yeah.
So you can take individual and then you can take group. So explain what those two look like. Can you take an individual and it's just more of that exercise and the martial, and then what the groups look like? Right.
So most students join our group lessons. So there's a social interaction to it, but it's also something that you can do on your own. And that's kind of a side note, but I love that kids are able to do the activity on their own. And if they're not doing so well, it's not going to hold the rest of the people back. Or if they're excelling, they're not going to be pulled back by somebody next to them who might not be doing so well. So it's an individual activity. It's an individual progression, while it's still a group activity and a social activity. But some will do private lessons. Many students will supplement with a one-on-one lesson for myself or another instructor to help improve the skills that they want to. There are people who will, they either, the timing doesn't work out right, their schedule's a little bit different, they can't make the group lessons, and so they'll just do one-on-one lessons, and that's it. And that's okay too. They have their own progress or their own focus that they want to do.
Oh, that's great. So as I mentioned earlier, we know that exercise is good for our mental health. But when I was reading through your website, and just people that I know that have done it, I had a foster son who was a behavioral kid and just didn't have control of his body, had bounced around to so many different houses, so he didn't have a lot of discipline. And so we enrolled him, and he really took to it, and I saw a change in him. So I've had some first-hand experience in seeing that transformation. But can you share with us a couple items that, your typical going to the gym doesn't give you that the martial arts do? And then I would like you to share a couple of stories of transformation that you have seen.
Sure.
But, your website had mentioned, getting disciplined, self-esteem, share a little bit of those pieces.
So some of these in the martial arts industry, they just become buzzwords. People hear them over and over, and so they're automatically thrown out there. But how does it do it? Why does it do it? And how is martial arts different from another activity? And that's really the key. Students can and will learn certain levels of discipline and respect and control and focus if they're doing soccer or baseball or football or tennis or other things. There's definitely those levels. I think in martial arts there's a certain skill progression, and so as we're teaching different techniques or different moves, there's going to be the physical hardships that they have to overcome, whether their body's getting tired or especially younger kids, the coordination isn't there yet. And heck, even for me, I wasn't a very athletic youth. I feel like I'm more athletic now as an adult than I was when I was a teenager. But after that time of practice, suddenly it clicks, and that instantly is a boost of confidence for kids who might be lacking that. In today's society, especially with social media, it's easy to see the snapshot into somebody else's life, or to see even as instructors, we're able to do amazing things. Look at how we use that weapon, or look at that, how easy we make this kick go. And it's easy to say, I wish I could do that, but I can't, I'm not good enough. Well, through martial arts and through their training, we're able to train that into them and say, look, when you put in your hard work, when you set that goal and you do the practice and you believe in yourself, say, yes, I can. I might not be able to yet, but I'm working at it. That's going to truly develop that self-confidence, that self-worth, the inherent parts of like the discipline and respect. It's inherent in martial arts. Much of it, especially back in the 50s and 60s when martial arts was emerging in the United States, a lot of it was very military based. So people, many of our soldiers were visiting some of the Eastern countries, and while they're there, they get into martial arts, they bring it back, and so there's that certain discipline of yes, sir. And so we still carry some of that over without truly being like the boot camp style, So we get that yes, sir, and we get that response, or the yes, ma'am, of course. We have a lot of female instructors. So being able to let that inherently be part of the martial arts and part of the structure. And then going deeper into that, we also start to understand that, the person across from us that we're training with, whether it's holding a target, whether it's actually practicing self-defense, they're another person too. And so having that mutual respect, like, they're trying to improve, I'm trying to improve, we're helping each other, we get that mutual respect between friends. But also knowing that, hey, look at this other kid, they're a lot like me. Boy, they can kick really hard. I'm holding that target for them, or they're hitting that pad or that self-defense. Wow, they're really good at this. So we start to have that understanding of other people in our lives, whether it's even the strangers, the kids they go to school with that they don't necessarily work with on a regular basis. Maybe they're not their friends, or they don't interact with them much, but they start to have that understanding that, this is another person just like me. I want to have that respect. I want to have that, people to be nice to me, polite to me, be friends with me. So I'm going to spread that to other people too.
That's great. And another part on your website that caught my attention is you talked about overcoming fear. Can you share a little bit more about how the martial arts can help you overcome fear?
So many times with younger kids, I talked about our little ninjas, 4, 5, and 6-year-olds. They are emerging. They're maybe not as comfortable around strangers, and so we come in and you've got the kid that they're hugging on mom's leg or kind of hiding, and just being able to come out and say, okay, here, give me a high five, and being able to draw that out of them, and then build the confidence little bit by bit that yes, they can step out and try something new, and that trying something new isn't going to be scary, or if it is scary, they can at least be brave. One of the things we talk about is having that self-confidence, believing in themselves, and that whenever we try something new, sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's easy, but if something is hard, we just don't stop and give up, right? We want to keep on trying and make sure that that we keep working at it if it's really something that's important to us. So overcoming the fear of just getting into that martial arts class, that can be a good first step. After a few lessons, maybe one-on-one with the instructor, especially for the kids that tend to be very shy or aren't as good putting themselves out there, then we're able to work them in with the other group kids, and then all of a sudden they're out there, before they didn't even want to step onto the mats, and they didn't even want to do that first bow or that first kick, but now they're out here with a dozen, 15, 20 other kids, and they're all yelling and having fun.
So share what that looks like in the adult world.
Sure.
Too, because we adults have our fears and lack of self-confidence.
Right.
What have you seen with overcoming that fear in adults?
A specific I guess example there is we had an adult woman come in. I believe she was 54 when she first started doing martial arts. So it's never too late. I mentioned my dad was 46, and so we always kind of poked him like, hey Dad, there was somebody who was older than you that started. So she went on, she earned her black belt, but again, she was started off very timid, was very unsure, and she would verbalize that. Fortunately, she would verbalize and talk about it like, I'm just not sure. I don't know if I can do this. I'm getting anxiety. And so that right there can be very hard for us as adults to verbalize and put out there. We also have many times, I'll call it, learned that we need to be self-conscious, because what are people are watching me? What are they thinking about me? And then, what if they don't like me? What if I make a mistake? People laugh at me. We might get some of those things ingrained at us back in grade school, and it carries through all the way through adulthood, and many people don't learn how to overcome that. So by being out there, by getting involved, the group lessons are going to be very encouraging. One of the things that we talk about is like, hey, when you work with a partner, we're not here to beat our partner. We're not here to outdo them or make ourselves look good. We're here to help our partner improve and get better. So there's a lot of encouragement, whether we're holding targets, practicing self-defense, or even just doing a routine or kicks. There's going to be friendly banter back and forth. Yes, good job. Oh, that was a really good one. Wow, nice kick, good power, whatever it might be. So that again is going to help improve that adult confidence. And then a lot of adults, we stop learning. We get into our routine and we just go through our days. We're working with our kids, we're working at our jobs, we're working with our family, and it just becomes the same thing over. And we forget to learn. We forget to expand ourselves. And so again, coming in as that white belt, that brand new student, after a couple months of training, maybe earning that first gold belt, and you see your progression, and then you think back to how far you've come in just a couple of short months. Wow, when I was here, I remember my legs being stiff and I could barely kick above my belt, and now I'm kicking my belly button. So look, there's progress there, and we can see that.
Oh, that's great. So share a little bit more, give us one more quick transformative story.
Okay. Let's see, transformative story. We have a boy who was on the autistic spectrum, and so he was definitely one of the shy ones, and then also his being able to use his voice, being able to talk. So when he would come in, his eyes would be down, which is very common. His eyes would be down, wouldn't talk very much, wouldn't socialize. But after getting him into karate classes, he picked up on it right away. I think he really embraced the structure that, hey, this is exactly what we do. When this command happens, this is what we do. When we do this move, this is what we do. And so through the physical aspect of it, he was able to make those connections. And this boy was a young teenager when he started. He ended up earning his black belt, and he actually ended up helping on the floor and helping with classes, assisting with classes. And so it was the best part about that is I would notice that he would be able to make connections with certain students that that I wasn't able to make, or at least not as closely. So he had a different way of working or engaging a student, or sometimes not engaging a student, yet still encouraging them. So that was good.
Awesome.
Yeah, Tony was his name.
So our time has gone by really, really quick, but we need to do a quick demo, okay?
Awesome.
You promised. So let's you are going to share with us share with the audience. I'm going to try to do them some basic self-defense moves.
Yes. All right.
Okay.
So in martial arts, there's several focus that we do, but some of it is striking. Having the ability to use your body to defend and strike and end the threat. If someone is trying to hurt you, being able to at least get a break in there and get away is going to be an important thing. All right. Mm-hmm. There's also physical self-defense where somebody's grabbing onto you, holding onto you in a certain way, knowing how to break free. We're not going to get too deep into that today. All right. Okay. But leverage is very important. Okay. So what I want to do is a quick wrist grab defense. All right. This is one of the basic things we work with. It shows us how to use leverage, but also how to work with a partner. Okay. So I'm going to have you be the bad guy first and you get to grab my wrist. It really doesn't matter which wrist you grab. You're going to grab both of them. Okay. So the thing about this is what many people will do is pull. All right. So if you pull on me and I pull on you, now we're in a tug of war. All right. Yeah. The bigger, stronger person is going to win. What we need to do is use leverage. Okay. So right from here with both of these, what I need to do is break out from this area here. So if I just try to pull, it's not going to work. But by rotating my hands, all right, that was nice. You got to let go. Grab real hard, grab real hard. All right. So I like to say, what do we do? How do we get this? I don't know. How do I get out? She keeps grabbing me. I don't know what to do. So the mechanics of it there is being able to, if you grab one more time, being able to break free from this area here. My arm is prying against your hand and it puts you in a weak grip. All right. So if I just grab this arm right here, that was it. All right. So do it again, but pull. So if I pull like this and you pull back, right now we're in a tug of war, bigger, stronger. All right. So you do it again, but use that leverage. All right. Pops right out. Okay. So now you might assess a threat. If I'm not just someone going, hey, come on over here with me. I'm actually maybe physically trying to control you or hurt you. So now you might need a strike if you don't have an opportunity to get away. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is a palm strike. While we do teach punches, if we don't condition the hands, punching somebody or a target is going to be tough. Okay, so we actually use open palms. So just take your palms, open up. Good. Take them and bump them together like this. Good. So you can feel that the heel of your palm right there. All right. So start right here by your chin. Now push one palm outwards. Good. And then the other one. And what we're doing is driving upwards, thinking about going up towards the chin or to the nose there. Okay. So driving upwards. Good. So I'm going to get these one of these targets here. All right, so I want you to drive that heel of your palm right into that pad. Go ahead. There you go. Good. Try with the other hand.
Oh,
that's it. There you go. Good. And you're twisting your hips really good. That's where our power comes from. Nice. All right, good. So the next part is the kick. All right, so what I want you to do is let's have you put your right leg in back. All right, so move your right foot back here. Okay, take your knee. You're going to lift your knee up. Use your right leg instead. Use your back leg because that's going to be the power leg. And then bring it back again. Knee up, and now we're going to kick. And then bring it back, all right? And then kick and bring it back. Now, a little part there is we want our hip to drive forward as we do that kick. I like to think about put it this way, if your house was on fire and your child was trapped behind a door and you had to kick that door down, what are you going to do? This is what you're going to do. So I'm going to get this pad here, and you're just going to use the bottom of your foot, the ball of your foot. You can drive in right there, all right? Ready, and kick. Yeah, just like that. Again, kick. Good. Now, a little faster. I've been kicked by people bigger than you. Don't worry. Okay. So, even faster, even harder right in the middle there. Go ahead. Yeah, one more time. Go. All right. Now, we're going to go even farther. Okay. So, I brought one of our boards here. All right. So, this is something we use for demonstrations. All right. But this is a standard like 1x12 pine. And if you see people breaking boards, this is usually what it is. All right. Okay. So, what I want you to do is just reach up and touch the board with the bottom of your foot. Just touch it a couple of times to get your accuracy. There you go. One more time. And now really drive through it. Go ahead. Oh, one more time. I'm going to brace even more. Hey, look at that. Awesome.
I love it.
So I love it actually when it doesn't break the first time because it shows like, oh, this is hard. This is real. All right. Yeah. And then boom, the second try, you really powered through it. So nice work.
So much.
So that right there is a way that we help develop overcoming a fear or hitting something hard like that, but also that self-confidence, that self-esteem of going, wow, look what I can do.
I'm just that little bit. It was like, yay, I'm awesome. And I want to thank Seth for being my guest today, and thank you for tuning into the Parenting Game.
We're all familiar with the 3 whats: what it is, what it can do for me, and what does it cost. Tyler Rickenaut Country Financial can help you find the answers with insurance coverage to help protect what's most important to you, all at a price you can afford. So while you're juggling work and kids while trying to keep an eye on your financial future, Tyler Rickenaut Country Financial will make sure they are the first ones there when you need them most.
The kids are back to school, and your schedule is busier than ever. From daycare pickup, doctor's appointments, sports, and college tuition, a parent's signature is a powerful thing. Have you ever stopped to think, what would happen if you weren't able to provide one? With thoughtful estate planning, you can make sure that your child's health and education needs are met in the event of your absence due to a temporary incapacity or even death. The estate planning team at Hurley Burish is here to help.
Thank you for watching The Parenting Game. All episodes of The Parenting Game are available on demand at sunprairiemediacenter.com.